fighting between the Israeli military and Hamas has been continuing overnight, with Israel claiming to have taken a Hamas stronghold in northern Gaza after a bitter 10-hour battle.
Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron has called for a humanitarian pause in the fighting, which follows the Israeli military's decision to reopen an evacuation road that allows civilians to move from northern Gaza to the south after the Rafah crossing between Egypt and Gaza was closed today.
Well, let's try and make sense of all of this. Delighted to be able to speak to Avi Hyman, who is live in Israel for us. And Avi, thank you for joining us this afternoon. First of all, just to make sense of what has been happening on the ground in Gaza, how far has the IDF now incurred into that territory?
So I can't tell you specifics of operations. What I can tell you is what's already being reported, which is that we have encircled Gaza City. We are closing in on Hamas. And again, reiterate our mission. The mission of the war is to dismantle Hamas, to dismantle their war machine, dismantle their government, so that never again can they perpetrate the type of atrocities that they did to our people on October 7th. Breaking through our borders, going from house to house, butchering people, killing babies in their cots with automatic fire, beheading babies, killing children in front of their parents, parents in front of their children, raping and dragging those bodies through Gaza City as trophies, human trophies. Our message is very clear. We're going after Hamas. We're going to free Gaza of Hamas. And that is what's happening now.
You are a spokesperson for the Israeli government. I just wondered whether you can shed any light on the suggestion of a possible ceasefire for perhaps 1 or 2 days that might allow the release of hostages. Is that true, what has been suggested?
So there's a lot of psychological warfare out there from Hamas, the barbaric terrorist organization. Sorry, there's a bit of an echo on the line.
Apologies for that, Avi. If you are able to continue, I'd really appreciate it.
That's much better, thank you. There's a lot of psychological warfare out there. What we're saying is there won't be a ceasefire until we can ensure the end of Hamas, until we can ensure that our hostages, those 240 hostages, including men, women, children, toddlers, and even babies, a baby as young as 9 months old, are brought home, are free. What is being discussed potentially is these pauses, like you say. Now, we've had pauses in the past to free those two terrorists, those two hostages that were freed in the beginning. Then there was another two pauses, temporary pauses is okay. But there's also temporary pauses been going on to allow Gazans to move south. We've called on all of the citizens in Gaza to move south through those humanitarian corridors, through the safer zones. And that has happened. We've seen that. There's some dramatic pictures that we've seen of Israeli soldiers protecting Gazan civilians that want to move out of the crossfire. Because, again, our fight is with Hamas.
What do you say to those who protest in the United Kingdom, in some other countries as well? Most recently, in the last hour or so, protesters scaling the Scottish Parliament, unveiling a banner saying, "Stop arming Israel." Do you have a message to those protesters in Scotland, no doubt in London this weekend, and right across the United Kingdom?
Yeah, it's very worrying to see a lot of these protests. This conflict is black and white, as the ISIS flags that we found among some of those terrorists that came to butcher our people on October 7th. So if you're through the streets of London or Edinburgh chanting things like "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," what you're ultimately saying, and maybe people don't understand this, is you're calling for the genocide, a genocide in Israel. You're calling for the total eradication of the state of Israel, and you're backing an organization that's creed that's charter calls for the destruction of Israel and calls to kill Jews everywhere. So as long as people understand what side of history they're on, protest away. But I am very concerned at the sides we're seeing, and I'd go one further. I would say that people that are that much against the state of Israel likely don't like Britain very much either.
But Avi, for some people, it isn't black and white, because although they absolutely accept what happened on October the 7th was barbaric, the more that this death toll in Gaza increases, which we understand now is well into at least 10,000 people, many of them children, that is where Israel starts to lose people's sympathy.
Right. So I'd ask your viewers to be very cautious when listening to numbers coming from the Hamas-run health ministry. Again, these are the same people that were beheading babies just a couple of weeks ago. These are the same people with an interest of inflating numbers, and the same people that are hiding behind their people, committing a double war crime of shooting at civilians from deep within civilian populations and even under civilian populations.
I appreciate, Avi, what you say about being careful about numbers, and absolutely, we can't verify it, but we can see the images coming out of Gaza. We can see the hellhole that civilians are in.
Right. I mean, every civilian life is a tragedy, and Israel is doing its utmost to ensure that we target the Hamas terrorists, which I believe we're doing. We're killing a lot of Hamas terrorists, and we're minimizing civilian casualties like any other army would do. But unfortunately, in every war, there are civilian deaths, and there hasn't been a case in modern warfare where there wasn't. What I will tell you about some of the images that I'm seeing, I saw images just yesterday of a Hamas missile launching site from inside a youth center, inside a Boy Scout center. There was scouting insignia on the wall, and there were missiles out of the window. I saw a children's playground. You see the seesaw on one side, the swings on the other side, and bang in the middle, missile launchers. We saw our military uncovered a missile factory just yesterday, just underneath a children's bedroom. You see exactly where they've been manufacturing these missiles. Over 9,000 missiles have been fired at our civilian population. You see where they've made those missiles. And just above, you see a beautiful girl's bedroom, outfitted in pink. This is unacceptable. We ask people to have moral clarity at this time and understand that Israel is doing what any country would do if they're under the type of attack that we're under now.
Avi Hyman, spokesperson for the Israeli government, thank you so much for your perspective and those comments. They're really important to get both sides